So, my friends, I want to bring you another podcast. This one's called the More Podcast. I want to sit in on this podcast a bit. It has one of my favorite podcasters on the panel, Mr. Rollo Tomasi. But the reason I want to bring this one is because it shows you a little bit more mature crowd of women. But here's the thing. Whenever I am reviewing podcasts like the Fresh and Fit and the Whatever podcast, my wife, when she watches me watching these videos, she says, why is it that you always pick these videos that the woman just seems like young and just stupid and they're like bimbos, they're not educated and they're not women that, you know, they're OnlyFans girls, etc. And I keep telling her, I said, babes, this is women universally. And of course, her response is always, well, my friends are not like that. So this podcast came across my feed earlier, and I noticed that the women were a little bit more professional, a little bit more polished. And so I want to prove to you, gentlemen, and prove to my dear wife that women have the same sort of mentality. Okay? If you don't believe me, just listen to a little bit more mature crowd as they discuss being single and wanting the top men, etc. Gentlemen, ladies, hit that like button on the way in. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hey, I'm here to bring you the receipts, my friends. I will only highlight things that we are subjected to as men in today's modern dating environment. And hopefully I can enlighten you gentlemen a little bit more so that you can navigate this world a little bit better. Okay, so this one is the More Podcast. Women don't see the wall until it's too late. Tell me about it. Let's get into it.
Real money cares if she's a gold digger. They just don't. Listen, if a man asks you what you bring to the table, that man has a low credit score. Listen, you should say that you're a gold digger. You should tell people. You should lead with that. Women should be gold diggers. Women should look for a provider. What's wrong with that?
That is a man that loves women.
Yes.
Huh?
That is a man that truly loves women.
And
You know how he got started? He was a pickup artist.
us.
Sorry, that's how he got started.
But
This
you know
whole thing.
what? But
And he was
he
making
loves
content just
women.
like us.
Even if
and then he
that's
started
true,
doing that, and he got
it
popular
works.
and shit. Which is what I've been saying
We
forever.
love him.
He is just so
Men are
much
probably
smarter than me. I
just
hold
don't
people
fight with
accountable.
us.
The cackling, the over-talking is the same on all of these bloody podcasts. Every single one of them. It's the same crap. Women just won't shut up and listen and then respond. It's the same. And that's the first similarity that you'll see right here.
I am stupid. What he's doing is incredibly smart. Like, it's unbelievable. Who here, anybody have any comments about Russell's content? Who here thinks he's completely right about this, and who here takes this with a grain of salt? He's just being a little toxic.
I think
to be
he's
funny.
completely right.
I think he's right.
You think he's completely right?
I
Yeah.
do, because I've lived all the things that he talks about. Like, I literally will tell men, like, I only like men with high net worths. And then they either like filter themselves out or they just give me whatever I want. It's great. And then give the lifestyle that I want to live. And that's the type of man
Yeah,
that
but
I want.
what could it possibly start with genuine desire, and then you find out that
You see, when I hear women say, oh, I've dated men that had high net worth and I've dated men, it's always somebody in the past. But where are those men now? In other words, these women will always boast about the guys that dick them down. And then they pretend like that those high value men that they've been through, it was her choice not to have those men as a husband, as if it's her choice. You ever realize that? Every single freaking one of these women will tell you, well, these are the men that I used to date. This is a man I used to have a man like that. But of course, there's something wrong with that man that she found undesirable. It was her choice to leave that man. And there's two things at play with this. More than likely, she's lying. In other words, that man never gave her the freaking offer, because it's the man that offers himself to her. It's the man that offers her the resources and say, hey, here's a big diamond ring. Will you be my wife? Most of those men didn't do that. They just hit it and realize that she's not bringing shit to the table, and then he bounces. And then she'll come on these podcasts and she'll say, oh, but he was a narcissist and he was this. It's always the man's fault. Even though this was the most desirable man that any woman would want, she chose not to have him as a husband. I just want you guys to think about that. She's waiting for a better one. These are top 10% men, okay? Understand that once you reach over $100,000 US, you are in the top 10% of earners worldwide. The highest earners are in America and in the UK. The highest earners. So if they can't find a man in the top 10% there to lock them down, they don't have any choices anywhere else. Let's continue.
He has a high net worth?
Absolutely. Like, I don't want a man
that doesn't really seem like you're allowing for that.
I don't want a man that I don't like. I want a man that I vibe with, a man that I can talk with every single day, a man that I respect. Like, I have to respect that man. Otherwise, all the money in the world, it means absolutely nothing to me. But everything that he's talking about, saying like women, tell men what you want, it's exactly true, because any man that actually values a woman will give her everything that she wants.
Agreed, but the problem is
and that is called a simp. A simp. Listen, gentlemen, and I've heard this from a few men that I've actually working with who have already gone through divorce. And quite a few of them have said, man, I've always given her what she wanted. And I said, there's your mistake. That's the mistake. Please don't make that mistake in the next relationship that you go into. Because when you give a woman everything she wants and she no longer has to work for anything, she no longer values that thing because she did not exert any energy, any time into acquiring those things. Henceforth, there is no value to her. The only time you value something, my friends, is when you work hard for it. If somebody gave you $1,000 or you had to put in 12 hours of freaking work to get it, which $1,000 you think you would value more? Yes, exactly. Because you know the effort you had to put in to save that 1,000 versus somebody giving it to you, you will view the value of that 1,000 a lot differently. Now imagine if somebody just keep giving you, you lose the value of it. And listen, this is not my words. I did a video on this about a year and a half, 2 years back. Don't give your wife everything. There are scientific studies that were done on this. Let me find, I can't remember the name of it. I'm going to go back to ChatGPT to ask it. I prefer to call her her. I'm going to go back to ChatGPT so that I can get the exact word for it because I did look at this earlier. It's called hedonic adaptation. This is what happens. Let me ask Sage to explain it to you all. Hey Sage, remember I was asking you about the hedonic adaptation earlier? I'm now on the podcast. Give me a quick synopsis on the theory behind it and one of the most popular scientists who actually conducted the study again.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, hedonic adaptation is the idea that people tend to settle back into a steady state of happiness even after big changes. So if something really great happens, you feel good for a while, but then you kind of return to your usual mood. And if something bad happens, same thing in reverse. One of the big names in this field is Sonia Lyubomirsky, who's done a lot of research in how people adapt to both positive and negative life changes. So that's your quick summary.
All right, but I want you to give me in reference to when someone gets everything that they need, what actually occurs.
Got it. So in that context, basically when someone gets everything they need, that hedonic adaptation kicks in. In other words, they might initially feel really satisfied, but over time that sense of fulfillment kind of levels out. They get used to it and it doesn't feel extraordinary anymore. So essentially they adapt to that new normal and it doesn't keep them perpetually happy. It just becomes their baseline.
Give me a good example. Give me a simple example so my viewers can understand exactly what you're saying.
Sure thing, Cole. So a really simple example you could give is this. Imagine a child who gets a brand new toy they've been dreaming about. At first, they're over the moon, super excited, but after a while, that toy just becomes another toy in the toy box. They adapt to having it, and it doesn't feel special anymore. It's the same idea in relationships or life in general. When you always have everything you want, it just becomes the new normal and loses its spark.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, Paul. Happy to help.
There we go. And this is what happens to a woman that you keep giving everything to. She becomes bored of the constant ease of having everything. And that's where a lot of men screw up because they think that they're actually pleasing her. But a lot of these women are no different than the child who sees a toy store and then goes, Daddy, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, give me this, I want it. Ah! And then when they cry enough, you cave in and give it to her. And then she keeps doing that. And eventually, you get conditioned to giving her everything she wants because you don't want to hear her cry. Then what happens after that? The hedonic adaptation kicks in. She gets freaking bored with having everything because it's now on autopilot. And then you get screwed over, my friends, because she then realizes you're just a sucker. Make sense? Gentlemen, I'm teaching you this shit so that you can understand how to deal with your relationships. Do not freaking give your woman everything she wants. Make her work. She has to work. And this is another reason I don't prescribe men putting women in the house alone. Make her get her ass out there and work for her money because she needs to understand and constantly feel the value of money. Let's hear what else these ladies have to say. This blonde hair is just unbelievable.
Women, so many men.
Hold up. Go.
You could say no to so many men in a day that you may miss out on the man you were supposed to be with because of never cry wolf.
Bro. No, because if I missed out on him, I wasn't supposed to be with him.
Like
what happens when it's game over? There comes a point where a woman can no longer have children if that's what she wants, right? So there is a time limit that is, slowly but, surely ticking. And you could be pricing yourself out of the game by not saying yes to someone, thinking it's always going to be there for you as an option. So pick and choose until you can no longer pick and choose.
I have a question.
Before Lauren goes on a diatribe for 15 minutes, Katarina, listen to me. I'm telling you this. You're an attractive woman. You're going to have your pick of men. But I want you to consider a couple of things, okay? How much does the guy need to make for you to be financially viable?
I mean, that's relative, but it's like I want somebody that I can enjoy traveling with around the world. I don't want to stay in a hostel.
He needs to be able to take
low budget,
no low budget stuff. So it's more than $100,000 a year, right?
Yes,
it's way more than that. Okay,
and that's
cool.
the only type of men that I've ever
got
really
it.
Truly
Okay,
dated.
So the top 10% of men make $134,000 a year.
Okay.
So you've discluded 90% of men. In reality,
I don't have problems finding them.
Okay, no, it's fine. It's fine. Are you married to one?
No, but that's a personal choice.
Okay.
There we go. It's a personal choice that I don't have one of the top 10% men in this world. It's a personal choice. Like those men are just dropping out of the freaking sky. She don't have a problem finding them. Oh, women will bullshit themselves into oblivion. And the thing is, none of these men are pushing back at her.
Number two, do you have height preferences for a man?
Yes.
What is it?
Like, when you say high preferences, which direction are you going?
Like taller than you or shorter? Yeah, like what's the minimum height that you want for a guy?
I mean, I don't have like a minimum height, but like
yes, you do.
5'9", I would say.
Okay, 5'9".
is like minimum. Yeah. Like 5'9" is minimum.
Okay.
So I'm like 5'4" and a half. So
got it. So that number that I said about the top 10% of men, cut that in half.
No, I already know.
Right.
You're speaking to somebody who literally has absolutely no problem being single for the rest of my life.
Okay, so that's the issue. Like, do you understand that
Red flag.
Red flag.
Right, but didn't you say I was a red flag for being single at 40? That is crazy.
But I'm not 45.
Okay, but
How old are you?
But you said single for the rest.
But you will be.
Marriage.
I
want marriage.
I want.
Right?
I want a company.
I am okay. Like for me, marriage.
How old are you right now?
Okay, so I'm 36. For me, marriage is not like an end-all, be-all. I do not want children, so that already alleviates the need to like absolutely find a mate. My clock is ticking. It's
And you've
not.
never been married yet.
You see, the women only think about what they want, not realizing that 36-year-old women who don't want to have kids, who want a high-value man, who works his ass off for maximum resources, gonna want to leave it to who? Her cats? Her dogs? That man is going to want to build a freaking legacy. He has a massive offspring, i.e., Elon Musk. How many kids he have now? I think it's 9. Many wealthy men realizes that they're building generational wealth. There's a reason why it's called generational wealth. In other words, he wants to pass it on to his next generation. So now this barren, dead, infertile woman with 10 pounds of Botox and freaking silicone tits at age 36, 40, wants a man that she can travel around the world with? You see the delusion that freaking comes in? This blows my mind. And of course, the caveat, the get out of jail free card for them is always, well, if I don't find it, then I can stay single. Great. Who does that hurt? The high value man or her? It's just another useless woman that has been taken out of the freaking market. She's not even a freaking blip on the radar of society because she contributes nothing to society. Women don't understand their value is finite because women don't build shit. So if she's not building and she's not contributing to repopulation, she's freaking useless to a man and to society. Women don't get this in their head. You got to either be building a society or you either have to be reproducing or helping to repopulate the society. And if you're not doing either of those, you are useless. You're just a parasite on society. At least if a man doesn't procreate, he's at least building. And if he doesn't do either of these two, he is also useless to society. Our worth is what we're contributing back into the world, into our society. If you're not doing two of those things, you're useless. Absolutely freaking useless. So I'm not just blaming women. I'm just saying, if you're living in your mother basement, eating freaking Cheetos, playing video games all day, doing shit all, you're not building and you're not freaking having sex or procreating, you're pretty much a useless human being. Tell me I'm wrong. Argue my point, gentlemen.
I just don't understand how you can't even see that what I'm saying could be a possibility that you're pricing yourself out of the market.
Yes.
And like,
But I don't care. That's the
right,
thing.
but
I'm either going to
could
get
it
what
possibly
I want,
be?
or I'm very
Could it possibly be
cynical.
could it possibly be an implicit bias because you can't care because you put yourself in a position where you have to not care in order to be happy? Yeah. Like you've created this bias in your mind.
I think you're trying to psychoanalyze somebody that you don't even know.
No. Again, you're correct. I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying could you possibly be open to the possibility that what your standards could be too high, and then leading with the idea of money is a problem.
No,
you're
because,
missing out on good men.
No, not at all. Because we live in Las Vegas. There is no shortage of very wealthy men. Sure. You could throw a rock and you can
they're all monogamous and absolutely don't cheat. Good call.
And
good call on that one.
Point. That's my point. So money is not the end all be all. You want respect. There are certain things that every single woman wants. Money is not the end all be all.
You're not gonna find it on the strip.
I don't think you're open to the possibility.
Oh, this is just as annoying as Fresh and Fit and the Whatever podcast. She's going down the same rabbit hole, same freaking rabbit hole that every other modern woman goes down. Every narcissistic woman who thinks that she has some measure of beauty and she's calculating that beauty on her past results, not her current results. Because when she was in her 20s, I am sure she was hot as shit. At 36, she's losing it really fast. So she has no other choice but to overcompensate for her failure. But the gentleman is right on every single thing he just said about her. Now she has to throw it back to object to him as psychoanalyzing her. She's just like every other single freaking modern woman that men see. She's no different than any other of these stupid women who have standards. And ladies, this is why you're all losing. Because what you're doing is you're waiting for too long and you don't realize that you were given your value up front. From the time you hit 14, 15, 16, you had massive value. You peaked at around 24, 25. And after that, there's a slow decline till you reach around 30. And then once you hit 30, and if you're beautiful, you might push it to around 34. Then that decline starts to accelerate significantly. And what I'm talking about, the decline, is your value to men. Because the closer you get to menopause, the less value you have to high value men. The top men want to pass on their legacy. They create generational wealth so that they can pass it on to a next generation. And if you're not capable of giving him the next generation, then he would have failed at being able to pass on his generational wealth. What the hell would I want to freaking build tens and hundreds of millions of dollars that I can't even spend in a lifetime, create generational wealth, and not be able to have a woman that would give me offspring that I can pass on my wealth to the next generation. Why would I want a woman like that? Come on, ladies.
That it could be right. Like, I am aware of my own bias. I like girls with jobs. I happen to love the University of Texas at Austin, and I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. I am aware of my biases. I'm aware that I like red meat. I'm aware. Just think that maybe you might have this bias, this proclivity to say, you know what, f- it. I can go the rest of my life and be single. And maybe you've created a box where you have to believe
Wait,
that.
an emotional box.
No.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not like in a box where like I have to be single, but it's like I do have very high standards and I do look for very specific things in men, and I can quite easily like get the ick. It doesn't matter how
Okay, so
hot
I have a compromise here. You admit that your standards are high and it may lead you to being single forever.
Yes. And I'm
Okay, good.
with
Then
that,
you're not being a
But I'm
hypocrite.
Men believe that women can love them in a certain way, okay? Women love opportunistically, men love idealistically. So whenever we hear somebody say about men has to have all of these qualities, he's got to have this amount of money, he's got to be this tall, he's got to have all these things, he's got to love puppy dogs, my mom has to like him, he has to want to have kids in the future, he's got to have a good job, he's got to be educated from a Harvard, Ivy League university, whatever the hell it is, whatever the laundry list of prerequisites is. I'm only using the term opportunism. I know it has negative connotations, but I'm using it because it's the only term that is really applies to this right here. Once that guy has met maybe 4 or 5 of those. He doesn't have to meet every single one, but he's got to meet the top 4 or 5 of these things. Once he has, that's when women will allow themselves to be emotionally involved in that guy. The other stuff, maybe we can work on that later. But if he's got this, and this, and this are the things that I need, great. That's opportunism. Guys don't get that. That's the problem, because men's concept of love is idealistic. They believe that love should matter just for the sake of love. It's like, well, if she doesn't love me this way, or if I have to jump through all these hoops, then it's not love, because they think that love should exist just because there's an emotional connection. She has to pass the test, right? She has to be hot and she has to be available. Once we get past that, everything else is just gravy at that point.
80% of divorces are initiated by women, and that means 20% of men are.
Yeah. What's the number one precipitator of divorce? The woman starts to make more money than the guy. Talking about
infidelity.
It's a good
So
thing,
we're
then
talking
I
about
date
we're talking
way up.
about 2 different concepts of love. One is opportunistic, one is idealistic. You want to know why we have black doomers and stuff? Because they're so married to the idea that love is only about the idealistic side of it, whereas women are involved in the opportunistic, and you have to at least have these prerequisites before I will allow myself to have an emotional
because there's the
connection
safety
and fall in
about
love.
that.
But if women aren't idealistic, then what is like the whole idea of like I can change him? Like that's like living in a fantasy of
opportunistic. This is why guys will say, especially Western women, they're not feminine, they're not submissive. I'm going to go to the Philippines and I'm going to find me some nice country girl from the back country, and I'm going to settle down with this nice one who worships the ground I walk on. Because why? Because of the socioeconomic differences that are going on in a third world country as compared to a first world country. Because women's love opportunistically. If I go and I step off the plane in Quezon City, or if I go to Manila or whatever, and I'm walking around there, I'm taller than everybody. All these women want to get with me. Why? Because it's a socioeconomic thing. It's not about the fact that they're submissive and everything else. It's the fact that you are the pimp daddy when you walk off the plane, because you just stepped off the plane in a third world country.
The other part is
that's why passport bros love being
Blame.
I had to be silent when the OG Rollo Tomasi is talking, and he's perfectly right. The problem with women in the West who love opportunistically is that their requirements are too freaking high. And the large majority of them think because they have access to the best skincare and Botox and devices that can engineer their body, and because they have opportunities to make more money, they think their value is much higher than these third world girls that these men are going to take advantage of. They are looking for opportunities from higher earning men. So the average guy, he has to go and find it somewhere else. But we all know as men, the women are the same anywhere in the world. Everywhere in the world you go, women love opportunistically. They are looking for the opportunity to have a man that can protect and provide for them. The difference between third world girls versus Western girls is that the price women want in Thailand and Philippines and Mexico and any Latin American country, etc., is that their price is a lot lower. That's all. And they know Americans and Brits and Germans. Those guys earn dollars, pounds, euros. That's the difference. Men know that they have to pay wherever the hell they go. They just don't want to pay an outrageous price. That's all. Men know that we're always paying for a woman. We understand that simply because, protection and provision, protect and provide. Provide basically means you're paying for that woman, my friend. Women go on like men don't think that we don't know that we have to pay. Everywhere we go, we're going to pay. How much are we going to pay? What are we prepared to pay for is the question that women don't understand that men take into consideration. Western women's price are much too high. That's the difference. So my friends, I'm going to put a link to this video in the comment section. As usual, you can go and listen to the rest of it. But I think I've gotten some of the juiciest bits out of this because, once again, it just shows you every one of these shows are universal. The mindset of these women are the same regardless of which show you're on. It's the same. Hit that like button, my friends, please. Subscribe if you haven't. Support the channel. I'm on a quest to get 2,000 more subscribers in the next 2 weeks to hit that magical 250,000 subscribers. So help a brother out and hit that subscribe button. It takes nothing from you, but it gives me a little thrill. Okay? So my friends, until tomorrow, remember, whenever in doubt, always, always ask an older man. I'll see you soon. Cheers.